What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and man, I know it feels like we're having this same conversation every week. The Dallas Cowboys are 1-3. We know that. You know that. I know that. The Dallas Cowboys should not be 1-3. You know that, and I know that. The Dallas Cowboys have what might be the worst defense in the NFL. Unfortunately, you know that, and I know that. We are 4 weeks into the NFL season, and every team except for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tennessee Titans has played 4 games. And the Dallas Cowboys have allowed more points than anybody else in the NFL. That is very not good. The Dallas Cowboys are throwing so much in the second half of games, and while I am team don't run the ball on first down, that is still not very good. The Cowboys, because of their offensive turnovers and because their defense is so bad, are putting themselves in holes and relying on their offense to get them out of games, to throw them out of games specifically, and their defense just can't get a stop when they need it. And I think that, look, the conversation about the defense has not been a good one this week, and I know that it is arguably the worst unit in the NFL in terms of all defenses, but I think the defense deserves just a modicum of credit, just a teeny tiny little morsel bit of credit. You think about against the Atlanta Falcons, the Cowboys turned it over on their side of the field like 4,000 times, and the defense kind of stood up, didn't totally stand up, didn't really do a whole lot, but didn't completely cave. It is worth mentioning that the defense sort of did their job in the fourth quarter against Cleveland after things were very different. I understand that. And that they allowed the Cowboys to go on a 24-0 run thanks to 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points. Or rather, 3 2-point conversions. Excuse me. It's been a long week. But the defense is still not doing their job all throughout the entire game. The defense still features a player in DeMarcus Lawrence who's been paid $100 million, has a big-time contract, and isn't living up to that standard. The defense has Everson Griffin, who was brought in to be a mercenary for this team and is not living up to that standard. Right now, a lot of fingers, in fact, all of the fingers are pointing at the defensive side of the ball, and they ultimately end with Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan, as we all know, was hired by Mike McCarthy to be the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Their time together goes all the way back to when Mike Nolan was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers early on this century, and Mike McCarthy was his offensive coordinator. There is a culture, as we all know, in the NFL of kind of hiring your pals, hiring your buddies, and a lot of people have a problem with that. And while that is a whole different subject in and of itself, the reality is that Mike Nolan is the Cowboys defensive coordinator here in 2020, and he is not doing a very good job. There was no logic to suggest that Mike Nolan would do a very good job, but there was hope. We had a lot of hope. We had a lot of reasons to believe. The Cowboys said all of these things that we all bought because we all sort of built ourselves off of the idea of hope, and it is falling apart. And Mike Nolan's scheme is one that is billed as being very complicated, having a lot of different language. And you look at it, offensively, the Cowboys are doing a lot of the same things. They have Kellen Moore obviously returning as their offensive coordinator, so their language isn't different. A lot of what they're doing is very similar, but it is an entirely new situation on the defensive side of the ball. And so it bears mentioning that there was no preseason, there was no training camp, there were no OTAs, and so the Cowboys are starting to try to settle into their defense, but that is not an excuse for how the Cowboys are playing. This, again, is arguably the worst defense in the NFL, and Mike Nolan either has to dumb down his defensive scheme because it is too complicated, or the Cowboys have to start matching the effort that the scheme requires. You think about it, and this has been a week. I think we pride ourselves at Blogging the Boys. In fact, I know we pride ourselves on knowing how Cowboys fans are feeling. That's sort of our whole thing. And generally, Cowboys fans, after the team loses, are upset and bothered. We all know that. We all understand that. But this has been a week unlike anything we've seen in a long time. After the Cowboys lost and got embarrassed at the Denver Broncos in 2017, people were mad. But that was coming off the 13-3 year before, and people had really high expectations. I haven't seen a reaction like this, if I'm being honest with you. And I think a lot of it is that before, every problem with the Cowboys could be traced back to Jason Garrett. And not that that wasn't true, but we kind of had that safety net, if you know what I mean, right? Like every problem, that was the ultimate answer. And that's gone this year. And so now it's, well, what's the problem? Jason Garrett's gone. This defense should be better. All of this should be better because Jason Garrett is gone again. And I think we have to start accepting that it is the talent on the defensive side of the ball. And it's not for lack of resources. It's not for lack of money. The Cowboys have put high top 100 picks on the defensive side of the ball. They've given multiple second contracts. Think about DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith. And Jalen Smith, man, he has really become kind of the face of these problems over this last week. A lot of people are really frustrated. And I think, we're at a point where the Cowboys could come out and they can say whatever they want and nobody's going to feel better, right? But you're in a situation where your results are going to be the only thing that can speak for you. And that's why DeMarcus Lawrence, who came out and called the defensive effort soft after the team lost lost to the Cleveland Browns, when he took to Instagram and he said, stop criticizing us, we stand up for each other, we're hurt, whatever. Right now, everybody, to be frank, thinks the Cowboys are just making excuses. People think that Mike Nolan's making excuses when he's saying that his scheme is new and different and they have to learn the language and all this stuff. This is the NFL. You've had a lot of time to learn and to put everything together and practice with one another and talk to one another. And so you have to find a way to get it done because you're being paid. You're in the NFL. All of this was built for you to be able to get this specific job done in this particular way, and the Cowboys are not doing that. And so you can blame Mike Nolan, you can blame DeMarcus Lawrence, you can blame Jalen Smith. They all are deserving of blame, and we all want them to do well. But right now, it is a collective effort in terms of a lack of effort. There's so many people on a national scale this week that have called the Cowboys out for not wanting it enough, for not being as into the game as other defenders are, for just getting run over in different capacities, and that's kind of the football that they're playing on the defensive side of the ball, and it's weighing down their whole team. And I tell you what, if you think it's bad right now, if Jason Garrett's offense comes to town on Sunday afternoon and goes up and down the field against the Dallas Cowboys this week that I'm talking about, that's been unlike anything we've ever seen before, it's going to be like this times a million. I mean, if Jason Garrett's offense, think about this. I want you to think about this clearly. Jason Garrett's New York Giants offense has scored 3 touchdowns this year. 3. I'm talking trace. 3. 1, 2, 3. They have scored 3 touchdowns in 4 games. That is 1 less touchdown than the number of games that they have played. The Dallas Cowboys, meanwhile, in each of their last 3 games, have allowed 3 touchdowns in just the first half. That's right. The Atlanta Falcons, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Cleveland Browns all had a hat trick's worth of touchdowns before halftime. Okay? And look, you're going to have to do something, Cowboys. That's the reality. I know that's kind of a weird way to put it. It's sort of an arbitrary thing, but you're going to have to do it. And if the Cowboys come out and they shut out the New York Giants offense, a lot of people are going to say it was just the Giants. It didn't mean much. You're in the NFC East. It's one of the worst divisions in the NFL. All of that is true. But you know what's true is the results. And right now the results are really not showing anything promising when it comes to the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. Think about this. Outside of Trayvon Diggs, if you had to buy a Cowboys defensive player's jersey, who would you want? I mean, honestly, who would, if you were buying a gift for somebody and it had to be a Cowboys defensive player's jersey and it could not be Trayvon Diggs, who would you buy? And that's kind of where the Cowboys are at. They're just this group that's kind of just out there and running around every time they're on defense, and that has to change. It starts with Mike Nolan. It continues on through Jalen Smith, through DeMarcus Lawrence, through Everson Griffin, through every single person. They're going to have to show the effort that matches all of the hype that went into this season. And whether they do or not is going to be very interesting to see on Sunday afternoon. We'll, of course, have you covered throughout it all at bloggingtheboys.com, your home for the latest and greatest in the world of the Dallas Cowboys. You can follow us right here on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the official Blogging the Boys YouTube channel so you don't miss a single thing. Make sure you subscribe to the official Blogging the Boys podcast network. We give you multiple episodes every single day. There's always something to talk about when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, and we're so grateful that you choose to talk about it with us. I'm RJ Ochoa. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa, and you can do me a huge favor and have the absolute best day of all time. You know why? Because you deserve it. Let's hope things get better. We'll see you next time.